Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to World Online Racing WOR here on YouTube here, and I'm happy to be joined by my co-commentator. Well, first of all, my name was CRGGO. Technically I am. I'm George Morgan. I'm here on Xbox, folks. I'm here with you all, here on Xbox for the first time here on World Online Racing. I'm joined by Flo. Flo, how are you doing?
Yeah, thanks, George. Great to have you, first of all. Great to have you here. Great to have the whole audience here. I'm doing great. We got really hyped. Everyone in chat is hyped. And yeah, I can't wait for the social and the season to start.
Oh, I gotta say, Flo, I'm so looking forward to this. This is so exciting. It's a brand new platform for me. Obviously, lots of big names here in Xbox. I've got to say, we discussed it at length. The talent on this platform is absolutely second to none. We're so fortunate. Here at WOR, we get to look at some of the best names on this platform here in this social race tonight. We've got some very exciting characters. And Flo, some Tier 1 drivers taking part in tonight's social race as well.
Yeah, there are a few, of course. But also, of course, there are Tier 2 drivers, Tier 3 drivers as well, who are also going to produce a good show for us tonight. But the money definitely is on the guys who are in Tier 1. For example, Jonas is in here, Antoine is in here, Hawk is in here. So there are a few guys everyone will notice. They are very, very good. They won several races on different occasions. Last season, WR, TSRL, all the big leagues. And yeah, they will be fighting in China today for this social race.
Yeah, it's China today, folks. We're going to be doing a social race around China, the Shanghai circuit, of course, designed by the great Herman Tilke, of course, who has designed many circuits across the F1 calendar. And we get to have a look at one of his prized designs, certainly. It was the most expensive circuit prior to the building of the Abu Dhabi circuit, of course. And I have to say, no expense has been spared on this track, I have to say. We're obviously going to be looking forward to it. But I think first, just before we start, we're going to take a look at a hot lap set by one Jakey B. Check this out. Hello everybody, George Morgan here from WOR, your commentator for Xbox and PlayStation 4 Tier 1. And looking forward to bringing you this hot lap here from Jakey B around Shanghai here in China as he makes his way across the line now, the start-finish line, heading up towards turn 1. And he pretty much breaks heading into the corner. You've got another subtle right-handed bend as part of this swinging right. And that's turn 2, heading down into turn 3, staying in third gear on the outset up to turn 4 now as he now pushes his way out into the semi-stretch just to lead you down towards turn 5. That's this little kink on the right-hander as he rounds under the Pirelli banner. Heading around turn 6, you're turning back on yourself at this point and then making your way up towards turn 7. Now this is a swinging left-hand, as you see. Jakey B's gone purple in sector 1, rounds it in 7th and doesn't gear up just yet, actually goes down towards gear 6, heading around turn 8 now, into turn 9 and into turn 10 in tandem. They're both double left-handers, making his way down the semi-stretch now, quickly up the gears before you reach turn 11. Breaks to the 100. Swallows a bit of the curb on the inset. On the outset, takes a lot of the curb there, but he will not hit it here on the outset, heading down towards turn 13. Takes the curb there on the inset, now making his way down the stretch. The DRS detection zone primes itself as he comes up towards the line now, and he punches it. And the speed trap is just before the end of the corner, the hairpin bend. And as he does so, he's going to want to break in between the 100 and the 50 as he makes his way down towards turn 14. Now doesn't even brush the curbs at all and takes all the tarmac on the outset now, powering up to gear 6 and 7. Breaks at the 50, quick downshift then towards gear 5, powering out across the line. And it's going to be a competitive lap time of 128.7 approximately. A great lap indeed from Jakey B. And we'll look forward to seeing more of those as we make our way through the season. There we are, folks. A hot lap there from Jakey B, of course. And I have to say, Flo, we've been talking about some of the great circuits, of course, throughout the F1 calendar. China, very, very synonymous as well with F1 racing, of course, down the years. It's been certainly the highlight of many a race calendar, of course. But just looking at the track in detail, so many varied corners and bends. You've got your hairpins, you've got your slow, I suppose, delayed bends, and then, of course, your chicanes as well. There's simply everything at China, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. The iconic snail section at the start, of course. Then this long straight, and also the traction zones, really, really difficult to actually manage. And yeah, really looking forward to it. So many different corners, like you said, and so many challenges for the drivers. I say we will see a lot of overtaking down the main straight basically, and also yeah, on the start finish straight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that certainly is going to be one of the certainly the more poignant points when it comes to overtakes. Certainly down that long back straight, heading down towards the hairpin. Do expect a lot of battles to be undertaken around that sector. We're just about to get ready for short qualifying now, folks. Of course, please give you predictions for pole position as well as we make our way through the session. Feel free to obviously drop comments in the chat box as well. Myself and Flo will obviously pick them out and obviously read them out to you. Of course, I'm very excited to be part of this very vibrant Xbox community. It certainly has been a pleasure to be here and be part of this extraordinary team. And I have to say, I really hope that we get off tonight with a huge bang and look forward to a very, very good Season 10, of course. It has been a very exciting build-up. I'm loving it and really excited to be here as well. And we got some raindrops falling across the track here.
Yeah, I was just about to say that as well. There is some rain, so dynamic weather we have, and that puts up another challenge for all the drivers that will be heading out on track. Let me quickly double check if there really is intermediate conditions. Yes, there are. There are intermediate conditions, so everyone has to go out on the inters. Question is, will it dry out, or will the rain even get heavier?
Absolutely. Well, if the rain does get heavier, it's going to provide a little bit of a tactical headache, of course, a little bit of a strategic headache, should we say. And, of course, that is going to make things ultra interesting, to say the least. We'll just jump over now towards the track, folks, and get ready for the start of qualifying. And we'll look forward to bringing you the very first race here in Season 10 here at China. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. This, of course, being a social race to get things going. And there you can see the garage littered above there. And plenty of drivers. JQB, in fact, who just set the hot lap we saw earlier, out on track already, looking to get us back underway here, Flo. It's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers cope with the wet surface here at China. A lot of understeer, lots of aquaplaning we could expect as well. It's very, very tough, certainly, to try and keep a handle of the car heading around a circuit such as this, because, of course, it's so treacherous, so many various bends, as we have previously said, and adding the rain into the mix, it's just another complication, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely it is. And I was on board with Jakey, and you have the outside shot of him right now up. I was on board with him, and he was really struggling with the rear end, and that is actually what is happening if you're out on a wet track when you didn't really practice wet weather driving. JKB even jumping on last minute basically into the session, so he is not really that prepared. Apart from the hot lap we just saw earlier. So that will also be a very, very interesting thing. And now the part where he is right now, the lead up to this long straight, that is probably one of the trickiest traction zones on the whole calendar. And especially in the wet, that will be a big, big challenge for everyone who is out on track, who hasn't done that much wet weather practice.
Absolutely. So it's going to be a war of attrition here on the circuit here, folks. Not only are the drivers got to be concerned about their co-compatriots out there on the surface as well, but the track itself can be so treacherous and so testing, as we're now seeing JQB now about to come round to start his flying lap. And there's plenty of cars out on track now, nearly the whole grid out and about. SSR Hamilton already out on a fast lap as well, but let's keep an eye on what JQB is doing. He's now making his way across the start-finish line, heading up towards turn 1. And in the Renault car, of course, Renault, a long time since they've won Grand Prix racing in real life, but I'm sure that JQB will do his absolute utmost here to make a change here. And I know, albeit that it is a social race, but nothing social about this event. We're all socially distanced right now, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of action. Lots of hardcore racing here on the track here today. Everyone wants to prove a point, and certainly some of the lower tiers as well. You've got to watch out for them, because they're going to want to put something on those top tier drivers, Flo.
Yeah, if they have the challenge, the chance to actually beat some of the tier 1 drivers, then that is a huge thing for them to do. And if they can do that, especially the likes of Jakey, Jonas, Antoine, who are probably the fastest guys in this lobby, if they have the chance to do so, then they will take it, definitely. And prove a point that maybe they want to challenge for the tier title, whichever tier they are in. Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. So many no assist tiers we have in WR this season, which is phenomenal. So thank you all for signing up. Also the PS4 tier, which makes the first appearance for WR for this season. at all. So season 1 for WR on PS4 also many signups. They are sorted out right now. We were just talking to Pinecone earlier. They are sorting that out, and maybe I could say that might be announced the next 2 days. I would say. And Jakey now coming around the final corner there, George. Going a bit wide, but still slotting into P1 there.
Yeah, and goes near enough 2.5 seconds quicker than that of SSR Hamilton. Alex Dager there crossing the line in the Haas car and getting in with a 1:42.839 as well. Hawk coming along as well. Now this lad is a very talented youngster as well, and sometimes his head can rule his heart. His heart can rule his head, should I say, slightly. Does certainly garner a lot of talent, and you can imagine that he's looking to strike it in position upon many here today. Tier 1 this season in WOR, and we'll look forward to seeing what Hawk can do. Of course, flying Oxtez up into P3. WOR Connor heading up into P2 as well. Plenty of names flying across this grid. Racing Point will be delighted with that one, that's for sure. Looking further down as well, we can see that Bobbits is out on track 2 after, I believe, an invalidation on his first lap. An invalidation for got to go fast as well. He's not going to go fast with an invalidation, that's for sure, as we're now seeing Jonas come around the next left-hander. Now, Jonas is a very, very exceptional talent as well here, Flo.
Yeah, he is. I know him quite well. He's also in the league I'm running in TSR, so I know him very, very well. Done very, very good recently, and he just won the TSR race yesterday, which was a wet one. So if that is anything to go by, he might be challenging for pole position here today. And I mean, we don't know about what the weather in the race actually will be. I would assume, and I hope it will be a bit of a dry one, because that overtaking is a bit easier. Yeah, Jonas is a very, very good driver, very, very experienced driver as well. Probably also one of the oldest drivers. I mean, if you could say that with, I think he's 23.
Well, he's younger than me.
Yeah, younger than me too, of course. But still, experience is also a big thing, and he's coming across the line, slotting into P3, half a second off of Jakey there, and still 11. Yeah. Good 12 minutes on the board, and still room for improvement.
Yeah, I think Jakey B has got a good handle on this circuit. We saw his hot lap earlier, as we just see lefted there, a little bit out of shape, heading down towards turn 11, and indeed he's not going to want a bit of that. And already trying to cruise his car around the next swing in. Right-hander, of course, the sort of spoonish curve. Turns 12 and 13 before he heads down the long straight. And he's really fighting the car there, really struggling in these wet conditions. And I have to say, we did talk about aquaplaning before, and that can certainly hamper your lap time. Bobbits is out on track as well, currently in P15 without setting a time after an invalidation. Chili out on track as well in the Alfa Romeo. And as you can now see, making his way into Sector 2. Adams is there as well, or Ads, should I say. He makes his way into the pit lane, not happy with the lap sent. And we got FRA Blackie as well, making his way down towards the hairpin bend. So let's ride on board with Blackie there. And VRT Lily, in all the drama there, 141.835. That is an incredible lap, given the circumstances. The track might well be drying up. He's up into P1 and nigh on 0.2 faster. Or near enough 0.3 faster than Jakey B. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the rain stopped, George. So there's no rain coming down anymore. So that is probably why everyone's opting to go into the pits. That was a great lap by Lily there, 41.8. But now with the track drying out quite quickly, I would say, as I'm on board with Blackie right now. I would say everyone will dive it into the pits and just wait for the DRS to be enabled, so that they can go out on a set soft or dry kind of tires, of course, and then just go for pole position. That will be an interesting one, of course, because a soft to hard strategy is really a strategy you have to stretch on this track. So if you want to really go into the top 10, that will be interesting. You know what? I saw Mercedes leave the pits there. Was that on a... Yeah, there are some guys already out of fitting the soft compound of tires.
Yeah, I believe that's lefted. He has now lefted the pit lane. and making his way out onto track on soft tyres. So we're right on board now with Left It, because obviously that'll be the most appropriate tyre compound now on this track, because obviously the circuit is now drying up quite quickly. And so this could, again, we talk about conditions, this again can complicate things. Obviously a lot of drivers setting lap times on a wet surface, albeit I bet they're glad to be on something a little bit more appropriate. Certainly China is very tricky at the best of times, but when you throw water into the equation, it adds a whole different complexity on the matter. As we now witness the black arrow there, just touching the curb slightly and very nearly sent Left It for a ride. Certainly as he now rounds the next left-hander. That of course being that auspicious turn 7 bend into turn 8, and now making his way down towards turn 9. Now these are 2 double lefts, and you don't want to get caught invalidated on this one, because obviously you can find yourself swinging the car sitting at pace. You lose the car, you can brush over the curb, easily invalidation territory. He now makes his way up towards turn 11 and now rounding turn 12. Now this curve obviously very key to get a good exit out of here, because it can really set your pace heading down the long stretch. So it's very important to get away efficiently around that spoon type curve there, Flo.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, very, very tricky traction zone as well out of that corner. So you really, and also in the race, actually, you will have a bit of dirty air coming through there. So that will also be a key factor in the race when we come to the race. But also in qualifying, you, like you said, you want to have good exit out of there, and also you don't want to invalidate. Well, Left It just invalidated, because that will actually invalidate your lap and the next one as well. I mean, you don't have the track map open, but that lap is invalidated as well. So he's basically out for nothing at the moment.
Yeah, not good at all, and that will cost him some wear on the tyres. And he's just lost it as well, straight onto the gravel trap. That is absolutely shocking indeed. Just sort of lost handle of the car there. Maybe the traction still isn't so good, but that's going to cost him terribly. And I know JQB's out on a lap right now, so we can keep an eye on this man. He's currently making his way around Sector 1 again. Looking to steal back that P1 position. Of course, WOR Connor managing to snatch it at the end of the wet weather run. He's already got it on intermediate tyres, a 141.835 to beat. And you'd firmly expect them to do just that, certainly on soft tyres. JQB already setting the trend from the get-go, and he held it for a good amount of time. Obviously, as the track started to recover itself slightly, we started to see more and more faster laps coming through. There's only 2 drivers in the 141s right now, Connor and Lily, who are currently in it. Lily, of course, part of the Tier 1 fraternity. As you just see, JQB going extremely wide there. And that certainly will not help, of course. That might cost him slightly. A lock-up there heading round turn 11. And that certainly won't help either. So a very, very scrappy lap. A lot of the drivers still struggling. I'd say struggling, Flo, with the traction on this circuit.
Yeah, I mean, that's also with changing positions. I mean, they were used to being on the intermediates, where they really have to catch the car every single corner out of every traction zone. But yeah, that really hampers your chances when you're actually onto the soft tires. That's why some of those guys even opted for the mediums to go out on those. As I think the first times will come in right now. I don't know if the Renault of JQB, did he even... He even improved on his time, which is, I mean, oh, no, he didn't. He invalidated, I think. But I think Jonas is coming across the line and sets the first competitive time of 31.1. And yeah, track's still improving, so we have to keep that in mind. 5 minutes 30 on the board, and still room for improvement for everyone who's out on track right now. Yeah, some guys on the long back straight there. Wanting to set a lap time now. Jonas the first one on the soft tires, on the dry compound of tires to set a lap time. Lily now follows with a 31.3, and I think that is first of all the time to be, as Antoine now slots in with a 29.9.
That is an exceptional time from Antoine in the Red Bull. A 129.927 is the marker, at least for now. And I got to say, it goes over a second quicker than that of LGS 469. So incredible stuff there from the Red Bull. And Red Bull currently have drivers in Ps 1 and 3, which is going to serve them perfectly heading into the end of qualifying. That is absolutely brilliant stuff. But if you look further up, you can see there, Ps2 and 5, nothing separates them, approximately 3 to 4 tenths of a second separating the top, well, between Ps2 and 5, as Ads makes his way up into P2 with the Red Bull sister car, the AlphaTauri, and got to go fast. He certainly has gone fast. Minimal delta gap in between him and Antoine, up into P2 for Haas. That is absolutely brilliant. On 2 lap-old softs, though, and that's going to be a key factor because, of course, those will be the tyres he'll be taking into the race if he's not careful.
Yeah, you don't want to start on those old tires, of course. But I think track is improving still. Hawk is now coming around the final corner. I would say, yes, he is. Not going into the pits, opening up the DRS, coming across the line into 29.7. And that is even 2 tenths faster than Antoine did. So track is definitely improving. I could see so many drivers improving on their final run. I mean, 3 minutes 40 on the board. And everyone will now dive it into the pits, just chill out, just relax, and then go out and try to go for pole position.
Yeah, well, don't forget this man left it, who of course did invalidate previously. We saw him go off the track before, and he's losing shape again as he made his way around turn 10. He's now going down towards turn 11. Now remember, Lefted is part of the Tier 1 list allocation of drivers, should we say, and he's now got a point to prove. He's in P19, no time set just yet. And Bobbitt's as well, in the same position, currently in the pit lane. Now, I'm not sure if he's having problems, but he is also a Tier 1 driver for this season. And the fact that you're going to have Lefted and Bobbitt's towards the back end of the grid is surely something that is going to be of interest. But Lefted doesn't want to be there, as you can see him jetting down towards the hairpin bend now. And very soon he'll be posting his first fast lap. Now, can he topple Hawk for P1, or will he be in the top end as he now rounds the final corner? No, he does not. Dives into the pit lane, and that surely is going to put him at a disadvantage. If he's not careful, he'll be starting from the back of the grid.
I mean, 2 minutes 40 on the board, so he wants to go in and just have the best track conditions. Alex Degu is not waiting for the best conditions to apply for the track. He's out on the medium tires, so that is also very, very interesting to see where he can slot in at the end. We saw track is improving, so maybe he could slot into the top 5, top 10 maybe on those medium tires. A good 7 seconds up on his previous time, which is no real surprise because that was done on the intermediates. Yeah, but everyone's now coming out of the pits, just wanting to set the final, to crush that lap Hawk did earlier with the 29.7, and that is the thing you have to beat, the lap you have to beat, 29.7, and with Track Evolution coming in, I would say, and even the sun is coming out right now, so that will also help most of the drivers. I know for a fact that Jakey says every time he's racing that he wants to have overcast conditions because he's faster than.
Well, you do get certain drivers that do favour certain conditions, and as I say that, Alex Dega there on the medium tyres, a 130.551, and that's approximately just around 8 tenths of a second separates him and Hawk. So that is an incredible strategy call from Alex Degu. That could prove very vital to Haas's credentials going into this race, because of course they got to go fast in P3 right now. So 2 separate strategies that could be just as efficient here for both Haas drivers. That is going to be exceptional stuff, as we're now seeing Lefted now out on track. Bobbitts is out too. Now this is where things get serious, because of course Bobbitts and Lefted both yet to set lap times. This is going to be a very, very crucial to the end of qualifying. You can now see them on outlaps. How crucial is it for them to get it just right with only half a minute, left to go here, Flo?
Yeah, the question is also, can everyone make it? Because, I mean, look at how packed the third sector is right now. And everyone's leaving a gap because you don't want to be interrupted by anyone on your lap. Someone could spin out, someone could just, like, abort his lap. So that could also be the case. Jakey instead did a very, very good job on that, just getting out as early as he could. Hawk actually can't respond if someone goes quicker because he left the pits a bit too late, maybe due to his teammate leaving the pits. So he can't respond. Jakey is trying to respond, and he's up by, let me see, 8 seconds on his previous time. So there's definitely the room for Jakey to go into P1. He's now coming onto this long straight, and Alex Degu retired. I think everybody made it, but it's really, really packed at the end of the first sector and the start of the second one.
Yeah, well, Alex Daegu has taken the strategy call. He's going to start on the medium tyres. That is, well, if he stays in the top 10, that is, of course. Let's not forget, we've got plenty of drivers who have yet to set times. When I say plenty, you've got Lefted and Bobbitt who are yet to set times. Here's we're right on board with Jonas now, heading down towards the hairpin bend at, of course, turn 14. And have you got an update for us, Flo?
Yeah, Jake just invalidated his lap on the final corner. It would have been a 28.8 from JKB, but he couldn't make that stick, so he will have to start outside the top 10, maybe even all the way down from P20 if he can't.
Jonas there with a P1. Sorry to interrupt you, Flo. Jonas with a 128, but his teammate Antoine with a 128.604 at the death. A brilliant lap time, and both Red Bulls currently on top spot. Pippin Hawk at the get-go, and I gotta say that is absolutely brilliant. As we look further down, Lefted now coming down towards the final hairpin bend. Now, what can this man lay down? Can he be a factor at the end of qualifying? Lefted, leaving it late. He's lefted it to the last minute. What can he do this time at the end of the social race? Crosses the line, P3 for the Mercedes. It's a double Red Bulls top in the billing with Mercedes in P3 with SRT lefted. What a thrilling end to qualifying, Flo. That was superb.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, Antoine getting that pole position just from Jonas and Lefted. That was really, really close between both of the Red Bulls. They will be in the Red Bulls for this whole season together. So that is a really, really interesting thing. We will have to keep our eyes on those guys. But Lefted also doing a good job. And let's just scroll down. Where's Jakey actually? He's all the way down in P18. So Jakey has to do a lot of work. So has Lily in P17, who's also a reserve driver for Tier 1. And Bobbert, unable to set a lap time, starting all the way down from P20. So we are up for a very, very exciting race there, George.
Absolutely. So that's the story, folks. Antoine is going to be starting on pole for the start of this Chinese Grand Prix. Second place his teammate, of course. We're going to look forward to all of this. Jonas with an incredible lap time as well. Red Bull looking very strong. You can count this as, I suppose, your WOR winter testing period, folks. I got to say, there's a lot of talk about winter testing at the moment. We just had it in real life. But the fact that the Red Bulls are looking so strong, that can mean everything going into a new season. So do expect this to give you a good indicator as to who's quick at the moment. Obviously, we're not seeing all the Tier 1 drivers at this moment in time in this social race. But I think it's a very clear factor that if you've got the likes of Antoine, and of course the likes of Jonas, top in the billing, certainly here at China, a very testing circuit as well, with testing conditions, with rain transitioning into the dry, it really does test certainly well, I suppose the fabric of a driver, and you've really got to give Red Bull a huge chance coming into the season here.
You have to, yeah, definitely. You have to really take that those guys into account for the driver's title and also the constructor's title as well. So they are one team to beat, but there are so many teams to beat. Actually, so many fast driver pairings within Tier 1. So that will be very, very interesting. And I mean, for all the guys that are watching right now from Tier 1, they know Antoine and Jonas are mighty fast in that Red Bull, as we're about to start the formation lap now. And let's just, George, let's just see which tires everyone's on.
Yeah, we certainly will. We'll take a look at certainly the tire classifications that a lot of these drivers are starting on. Obviously, it's crucial for many of these guys as we're now witnessing them coming out onto the circuit as we head out on track now. There's Antoine, who's leading the round, and of course he's starting on the softs. And of course the medium tyre started by Connor and Cizala as well. Both of them in the Racing Point. So they're both starting on the medium compounds. That's interesting. They're both in the top 10. That gives Racing Point a huge chance and a potential advantage in strategy. And we'll have to see how that pays off for them. Alex Daegu, of course, did qualify on mediums. Obviously did not get to keep those mediums. He's now swapped for a pair of hards. So, and interesting to see that Harv and Lily have opted for the mediums outside of the top 10 as well. So we got variant strategies here on track. And it's going to be very interesting to see who utilises these folks. But I have to say, it's going to be an absolute pleasure to bring this event to you folks. Obviously, if you would please leave a like and a subscribe, of course, that would mean the world, certainly to us here at WOR. Please leave a like down below, press the subscribe button, and don't forget as well, you can check me out on Twitter, and that is, of course, at George Morgan TV. And you can also check out Flo as well. Flo, tell him your Twitter handle.
At TSR Miles is my Twitter handle, so if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. Yeah, like you said, really looking forward to this race, and we're about to, yeah, the drivers are about to slot into their positions, and yeah, everyone in chat, just leave your prediction in.
Yeah.
Who will win this race?
Yeah, leave your predictions in the chat, folks. But now it's time for the Chinese Grand Prix. Welcome back here, folks. We're now about to get started as the cars line up for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix. Hello, everyone in the chat. Leave your comments, leave your predictions in the chat below as we're about to lay down pedal to the metal for the first time here at WOR for Season 10. This time for a social race, albeit, but no holds barred for this one. It's going to be a corker. As you can just see the rear of the cars just lining up now. SSR Hamilton and SSR Bobbitt. Here we go. Bit of a delayed start here, folks. Keep it with us. As soon as the lights decide to work here. It's a good start, isn't it? First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light! And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go! Antoine gets away well. Jonas, what a rocket of a start there from Antoine. He is well clear. Some cars have exited the track. Drama in the back. SSR Bobbitt's out of the race with a DNF. There's severe damage. It's terminal. The two Red Bulls around in turn 1 and turn 2. That's Antoine and Jonas owning that top spot. Left in Hanks on the P3. In behind, got to go fast in P4. Hawk is up in a P5 too. Hans there in P6. Drama at the start though. I have to say, Flo, not a good start for Alpha Tauri. Bobbitt is out of the race because we got a VSC.
Yeah, not a good start there for Bobbitt, but I think the problem was that Oxus didn't have a good getaway from his starting position, and I think he just slammed into the pit wall there on the right-hand side, and then just collected A, his teammate, and B, Bobbitt as well. So that is quite unfortunate for both of the Renaults. They both have wing damage, so it will be a huge task for Jakey to actually go through the field once again. But at the front, everything is as it stands, like it was at the start.
Absolutely, and they're going to remain like this for the time being while the VSC is underway. Obviously not the nicest way to start, and damage there in the centre. I'm not quite sure what happened, but I'm not sure why, but obviously the get-go happened again. We're back underway here at China. VSC over, as we're now seeing a bit of a cluster as they head round the big right-hand bend at turn 13, and there's a car well off the track there. I believe that's Alex Dagu, who took a trip off track, and we're now seeing Ferrari Chile coming into the mix, as well as LGS 469, who is now the outside of Hawk in his Alfa Romeo as they come down now towards the hairpin bend. There's a McLaren on the inside. That's of course Ferrari Blakey as well as many others who are now beginning to join the fray. It's a real carnage in the midfield. Oh my word! Oh my word! There's another bit of a collision there for Chile going for a ride. They're heading round the hairpin bend. Scenes that we've never seen before. And I've got to say there are penalties littered across the circuit. I'm not sure if you can analyse that, but drama at the start here, Flo.
Yeah, a lot of drama going on, and look at how many guys are into the pits there. Nearly half of the field, which actually helps both of the racing points. We were mentioning them earlier. Starting on the medium tires, that might actually help them. Both on the medium tires in 4th and 6th respectively. So that might be their chance. And also Alex Dagu in a very, very good position in P9 at the moment. The top 3 are getting away. Susanna can't keep the pace at the moment. But yeah, really interesting to see what everyone who just pitted can do in this race. There might be a safety car later on, so that could also happen. As I think there's a Williams parked up at the end of Sector 1, which is now going. That must have been SSR Hamilton.
Yeah, and I got to say, Hawk getting very close to the rear end of WR Connor there, indeed. So it's getting really, really tight between this thing about there, and that's actually given us a VSC in this race. Not the best of starts here, Flo.
Yeah, second VSC already, which is very, very interesting. And I was just about to mention if someone will actually dive it into the pits right now. And there are several guys on the soft tires who are actually opting to go into the pits fitting the hard compound of tires, and I would assume they will go to the end, or maybe go for the 2-stop, as I see there are some medium tires actually ready for them, as ads just fitted the medium tires. Hawk actually onto the hards. DRS gets enabled right now. They will have clean air, and that could really throw a spanner in the works for the top 3, Antoine, Jonas, and Lefted.
Yeah, well, at the moment, Jonas and Lefted at the moment both have penalties at this moment in time as they round the next left-hander now. This, of course, being turn 7 into turn 8 now. Antoine still in P1, but he's still got Jonas in behind him, of course. Both of them very, very rapid drivers. In mind as well, you got Lefted as well in P3, who is tracking every move that the Red Bull makes. This almost looks like a prequel before the start of the new F1 season, I have to say, because we've all heard a lot about Red Bull's pace for the start of this season. And of course, Mercedes, who are meant to be, or we rumoured to be, sandbagging for the start of the season. So this could well be a picture that we see presented to us when it gets underway in Bahrain, as we can now see them transport their way down the long stretch now before they make their way down towards the hairpin bend. This is your top 3, Antoine, Jonas and Lefted. In behind as well, the 2 Racing Points, who have managed to really crawl their way right up through this grid. Remember, they started in places, I believe it was 8 and 9 from memory. And I have to say, starting on medium tyres, I believe you're absolutely right here, Flo. No penalties applied to the Racing Points. They're in with a great chance as long as they can keep this up.
Yeah, they definitely are, and I mean, they can't keep the pace with the soft compound runners, of course, at the front. Lily now setting the fastest lap in the process. So the crossover point between the softs and the mediums might be a bit away now, because there were 2 virtual safety cars where everyone just could preserve their tires a bit and just look after them. So they could go 1 lap longer and have a bit of fresher tires towards the end of the race. A guy I'm really interested to see where he will come out is Hawk, because he fitted the hard tires. He wants to go to the end, as now LGS also sets the fastest lap of the race on a hard compound of tires. So everything will play out. Question is, how many penalties? Oh, Jonas and Lefted have a drive-through actually, so that will certainly not help. And Antoine will know that, and yeah, basically he can chill right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is music to the ears, I'm sure, if the 2 Racing Point cars are in behind. Strategy-wise, they're looking in great shape right now. Currently 3 seconds behind Lefted, but I've got to say, put that down to the tyres. At the moment, they'll become effective later on, as Jonas takes a little look down the inside of Antoine. Surely no move being made yet. And of course, I'm not sure whether team orders will apply here at Red Bull. I'm sure they'll fight for everything they've got. Of course, Antoine doesn't have a lot to worry about. He has no penalties right now. Drive-through or nominal penalties, as we now see Jonas enter the pit lane, no doubt to begin their their drive-through that Lefted is joining in for as well. So we'll see what brings this out. That will allow F1, Zizala and Connor to move up into Ps 2 and 3. But just look at this. VRT Lily, of course, the Tier 1 reserve, up into P4. He brings along Alex Dagu, who's on hard tyres. Brilliant stuff. It's been a real mishmash since the start here, Flo. Brilliant.
Yes, it is. And Darkhill are also not that far behind on a set of hard tyres as well. So the hard compound runners, they can actually be ones to watch out. I mean, Antoine is doing a phenomenal job at the front, no question about that. Jonas and Lefted really screwed over with that drive-through, and they want to come into the pits at the end of this lap as well. So that's what I would assume. I think Antoine will pit, or maybe just go a lap longer, just because, I mean, he doesn't have to worry about anything at all at the moment. His nearest rivals just had a drive-through, and Zizala is a bit far off. I mean, 5 seconds the gap between him and Antoine. But the fight for P2 is still going on, as Lily's looking really, really strong and really, really punchy out of that long swooping right-hander, leading onto this long straight.
Yeah, and he's saving his ERS as well. You can see it in the bottom in his look at him at the bottom of his small monitor there. He's going to see Connor going for a little look here on Zizala, heading around the hairpin bend. Superb stuff here as they go wheel to wheel, coming down towards the final corner, but still his teammate Zizala hanging on for dear life. Connor not able to make a move, but 2/10 is all the separates them now, and DRS is applied. Overtake is on. Here comes the racing point of Connor against his teammate. Gets it done before the corner. Superb stuff there by those two. But certainly I don't think Cesaro actually put up a fight too much, to be honest with you. He wants to make sure both racing points make it to the end. They're on the same strategy. There's a good chance they can both come off the back with great results come the end of this Grand Prix. Sensational stuff by those two indeed.
Yeah, definitely. Great racing between those two. And Lily actually had some wing damage coming from that. I don't know if there was anything happening there, as we have a migrating host and a virtual safety car being applied. That might help someone who's coming into the pits right now, which is Jakey, who wants to fit a set of hard tires. So that might bring him back into this race. The third virtual safety car phase. I've never seen that at all. But really, really interesting with all the virtual safety cars. Jakey has to wait. Why does he have to wait? That's a good question. We won't be answered. But yeah, like you said, the racing points looking very, very good. And Cesala now on the back of Connor. And I think DRS will get enabled shortly. And then Cesala might have a go on Connor once again.
Absolutely, he could well do. He's looking at him right now. Connor at the mercy at the moment of Cesala, and I have to say the VSC still applied here, so I think Cesala could have really done with that VSC coming to an end right on that back straight, because that would have allowed him to immediately snap back at Connor. But he does not want to let his teammate go here, and you can see DRS is now enabled as we get going once again, and this will give Cesala a chance here to utilise his DRS heading around turn 1. This time he can sort of tank back on his teammate here. Connor currently in P2, being certainly chased up upon by Cesaro, who has not activated his overtake, so he's quite happy to sit there and save right now. But he knows that both racing points are going to be in with a great chance in this race, of course. None of these drivers in P2 and 3 are actually in the top tier, to my knowledge, at least for the time being. So I have to say this will be a great result for these drivers if they can hang on here, Flo.
Yeah, definitely. Cesaro and Connor, I think both are in tier 2. Maybe they even are together in the racing point. I'm not sure about that, because I just dealt with the tier 1 side of things. Jonas now into the pits, onto the hard tires, and let's just see where he comes out in perspective to Left It, and Left It actually makes the undercut stick. Antoine will come into the pits at the end of this lap, I would say. We quickly have a look at his tires, as we have another virtual safety car phase. I don't know what for, to be quite honest, but that is not really looking good. Oh, Oxus has a broken front right end plate on his front wing, so he might have lost it somewhere, as he just went very, very deep into the hairpin there, and now wants to come into the pits really, really carefully, not losing the tire on his car. Antoine, like I said, will come into the pits, but that is robbing us a bit of some good racing, George.
Yeah, lap 7 of 28, and as by my count, I think he's at about 4 VSCs. That is absolutely unbelievable. So now seeing FRA Blackie now trying to close on Hawk, who's currently in P7. Drive-through penalty applied to Chile. I would guess speeding under the VSC, which is certainly not going to be good for his chances in this race. Currently down in P16, and now he's going to have to serve a drive-through. That is not ideal at all. And you can now see WOR Connor and F1 Cesala now Ps1 and Ps2. 2 racing points at the top end, as we're now seeing them come through. They're battling each other heading around turn 1 and turn 2 as they come around turn 3 now, and Cesala snatches it off Connor. And I've got to say, he's not going to take that sitting down as they go together, heading around what will be turn 5 before they hit turn 6. I've got to say, it's been a mightily crazy race to cover. Certainly for a social race, we've had more drama than I can count. But F1 Cesala leading the charge, currently at this moment in time here in lap 8 of 28. 20 laps remaining, and the drama has only got started, Flo.
Yeah, I mean, for both of the racing points, they're both on the same strategy. So they're also fighting not only for position, but also for the first pit stop. One of them will get the undercut on the other one, and we have another virtual safety car. I think the lobby is a bit glitched, to be honest, because that is not something you see every time. And yeah, not the best race for you to actually come the first time onto Xbox, and that was Oxtes hitting the back of Cesala there, carrying a 5-second penalty from that, and Oxtes not really happy, I would assume. Yeah, I mean, what can we do about the virtual safety car right now? Yeah, not really much.
Yeah, well, I got to say, Cesaro got away with that one, really, because if you think about it, it would have really cost him a lot. He's currently leading this race. He could have potentially suffered a damaged front wing there, which is not ideal, especially when you've got a back marker covering you here, as the VSC is still away as we get back underway here, and Cesaro still leading the charge. You can see Connor in the midst as well. Dark Killer trying to close on the back of Alex Dago as they come up towards turn 1. And they're heading around this initial couple of bends now, because this being turns 1, now into turns 2. And Alex Dago may be running slightly wide there, opening the door for Dark Killer as they come round turn 3. And I've got to say that time gap has come straight back down again. They're now separated by around 5/10 of a second as they now make their way down towards this next stretch, leading down towards turn 6. So you can see the 2 racing points still once again in tandem. And we've also got a battle here, as I said before, between the Haas and the McLaren. And of course, Dark Killer looking to do the business here, as we now see that Lefted has actually retired from the session as well. So that's a huge blow to Mercedes, especially when he started on P3. It has not been a good day at the office for Lefted here, Flo.
Not really. That was quite unfortunate. Drive through first, now retiring in the pits, leaving the session as well. Let's just hope there won't be a virtual safety car once again, so that we will actually have some racing. We can see here, as now the leading pack of both of the racing points, Alex Dago and Dark Killer, are heading onto this long straight once again. Connor is pushing a bit, and I would assume they will come into the pits at the end of lap 11, maybe 12. Maybe one of them will go for an extreme undercut, and yeah, that could also be the case, just to get rid of their teammate as well. Because you don't want to stick with them too long, but they are still going. Alex Dago and Dark Killer, they will go until lap 14, I would say, and then come into the pits, fit the medium tires, so they won't be separated that much. As I think now, no, that's JKB coming out of the pits there. So also a race to forget for both of the Renaults.
Yeah, I have to say, it's looking like a very different prospect to this race. We are expecting JKB and the likes of Lefted to be right up there for the start of this race. Lefted he did start P3 on the grid, but all the drama that's happened has certainly changed the complexion of this race. Antoine has moved up to P5. He's already changed onto a set of hard tyres, so he's still very much in this race. Cesaro in P1. Remember, both racing points yet to box. It's going to be interesting to see which one of them boxes first, and I'm sure there's got to be a decision amongst the team. Has got to go fast, is retired as well. Now remember, he looked promising in qualifying as well, but he's now out of the race in P13, or was. And of course, now dropping down the field, he is out of this Chinese Grand Prix. Cesaro in P1. He's got a penalty applied. Connor, who will currently lead this Grand Prix, subject to that penalty applied as well. Alex Dago, who's been brought straight back into this race as well for Haas. He is on hard tyres and looking incredibly racy. Dark Killer's in behind him. And let's not forget Antoine, who's got a little bit of work to do. 13.5 seconds. But by the time the pit stops have been applied, you firmly expect that Red Bull to be straight back into the fight, Flo.
I mean, I would suggest that, yeah, when they will come into the pits, not if, because they have to, then we have a full course yellow flag, always not so good to see, but yeah, I mean, the crossover point between the hard compound tires and the mediums might come pretty soon, I would say. That's why Alex Dago can keep up with Connor and Cesaro there for the fight for essentially P1. I mean, Antoine will take that one over. Hawk is not looking that bad as well, sitting in P8. Jonas all the way down in P12. Lily will go to the end as well. So Lily started on the medium tires with a huge undercut as well, trying to make that one stick. So that will also be very interesting to see how that pans out when everyone made their pit stop. And also the question is, can the likes of Hawk, especially Hawk, can he make it until the end of the race? And also LGS, I see, is on 8-lap hard to compound tires, so he wants to go to the end as well. That will be a tough task, and I don't think he can make it, or both of them can make it.
Yeah, well, Hawk is only around about 7 seconds away from Antoine, and that gap is slowly starting to creep down a bit. I have to say, Hawk is starting to make some progress on those hards, as you can now see. Connor actually trying to seize up here on his teammate. Dark Killer as well in the midst. But you can now see Alex Dagu now starting to weave up on Connor and certainly making some inroads despite the overtake not being applied now. I think he must have opened it up just before or just after the DRS line. He might get a chance here on the snapback out of the hairpin bend. If he gets a good run here, he's in with the chance, but not this time as Connor manages to hold on. But here comes Alex Dagu again. He's not far behind Connor and will utilise the DRS. Unfortunately, because Connor has DRS on Cesala, it will not enable Dagu to go past as Hawk manages to get a move done here on Blackie as they come round the hairpin bend, and the Alfa Romeo has got it done. Sensational stuff there by Hawk, moves himself up a place, and now he's only 3 seconds away from FRT KFC Seb.
Yeah, good move there from Hawk, and that is actually what he has to do right now. He has to make quick work of everyone who's around him, and the FRT guy just in front of Ferrari, he has to make quick work of him as well, as Oxtis has a shocker of a race, and I think spun once again out of the hairpin. That is not what you want to see, but yeah, if we focus on Antoine and Hawk, that is a really, really interesting one, because Antoine is managing his resources, he's managing his ERS, he's managing his tires, and can, yeah, chill a bit more, if you want to put it that way. Hawk has to push if he wants to win this race, but on the other end, on the other hand, also has to focus on his tires, like I mentioned one lap earlier. So that is really the thin line Hawk is running on right now. If he can do that, that is the question. Just looking up front, because you were mentioning Alex Dagu just having a go on Connor. Connor is doing a phenomenal job managing his ERS as well. Alex Dagu not so much. He's on down to 10%, and Dark Killer behind. He's on 30%. But he will see the light coming on at the back of the pass, as now Connor dives it into the pits, and that is the undercut I was talking about. Yeah, Connor is now in the pits. Jonas as well trying to seize up on LGS 469. We'll have a chance on the prancing horse of the Ferrari now, as Jonas now is going to apply the pressure, certainly with the DRS opened up now as he makes his way down towards the hairpin bend and turn 14. The Red Bull down the inside there of LGS 469, and he's got a lot of work to do, but that's a good first step there for the Red Bull after his incredible qualifying session. Jonas now whipping around the final corner. He is up to P11, one from outside the points, and I have to say that is absolutely brilliant. Utilising those hard tyres effectively, and he's now up into the points now, because now you can see that FRT KFC Seb is just in the pits, just getting changed on some medium tyres. So Jonas has got a little bit of work to do, but those are the right steps that he needs to make, and I have to say they'll be much needed with 15 laps remaining. Yeah, surely he was a bit frustrated, but just kept his head down, and now is making work, which he has to do, like you said. Now, focusing on Lily, but the gap is 6.6 seconds right now, so he really has to hope for maybe a safety car to get back into the fight. But I was just focusing, George, on Connor, who just came into the pits, fitting the hard compound tires. Blackie just lost the DRS to Hawk up front. Now he might be back in. That is the question to be answered once they cross the DRS line, and I don't think yes, he has. So Blackie still has that DRS.
Here comes Connor.
Hawk, but Connor is still going for it.
Yeah, here comes Connor with the DRS open for Blackie. Connor makes light work, heading down to the hairpin bend, and superb stuff at late breakers while he locks up the tyres, but it was all for a good cause. He moves his way up into P6, and now he's going to let fly at Hawk. He's got all the power now, he's got all the tyres, he can utilise them to the end. He's only got 14 laps remaining, and Connor now can really stamp his approval on this race now. He's not far behind the Alfa Romeo. Hawk, remember, has a long way to go. He's got 10 lap old hards on, and he's really got to try and hold on here. He's got a huge fight on his hands, because Connor is not going to let him go here. Those fresh hards are going to be all over him like a, well, he's going to be all over him like a flannel. Let's put it that way.
Definitely will be that way, yeah. And I was just looking at the gap between Connor and Cesala. They were very close to each other before the stops, and now Connor, I don't know what he did, or if there was an issue for Cesala in the pits or something, but Connor just gained so much time on one lap on those hard tires that either the medium compound tires were just shot completely, or maybe Cesala was just held in the pits or something like that. Connor now setting his eyes on Hawk. Like I said, Alex Dagu and Dark Killer, I would assume they will come into the pits at the end of this lap maybe, and just go onto the medium tires, because they can last that long. question is, do they want to risk it, or do they not want that? As now Connor has a go on Hawk, and that was a very, very simple DRS pass down the straight.
Yeah, utilising all the tyres. The pace is just too much for the Alfa Romeo, and I got to say, that was an elementary move from Connor. He is a man on a mission. He is enjoying life currently. The Racing Point, the Pink Panther, doing its utmost here to taste race victory here at China, and he's going the right way about it. 8.2 seconds, the delta gap between him and Antoine right now, and I'm sure with fresher hard tyres, he'll utilise those 5 laps differential in between him and Antoine's tyres to really lay the hammer down upon the Red Bull car. It's going to be a fascinating finish to this Grand Prix, folks. All the VSCs that we've had, the drama that we've had intensifying across this circuit, it all leads up to the final moment, and I'd imagine from lap 20 onwards, we're going to be witnessing magic here at the Shanghai circuit. It's going to be absolutely superb. Dark Killer now trying to fight his way upon Alex Daegu, but Alex Daegu, no penalties applied for him. He's going to try and overcut the rest of this field, look to finish quick on the softs. Let's see if he can apply it here, Flo.
Yeah, Daegu now is pushing really hard. Dark Killer just posted his personal best through the second sector. So they're really pushing, and if I look at the ERS, they are equal, but they are equal on basically nothing left coming down the straight. So they are hoping that they will recharge. I mean, they will recharge in the pit lane, but they, like you said, they are trying the overcut on the Racing Point guys because they were in the fight with them. As Dark Killer dives it into the pits, Alex Daegu carries on for another lap. Antoine will be in second position right now, and let's see where Connor is in all of that, and also where Sazala is, because that might give us an indication of did something happen to Sazala in the pits? Did he have a 5-second stop-go penalty?
Well, Sazala,
I will check that.
Sazala is under pressure, but he's overtaken Lilly, and he's on fresh tyres. So Sazala now, even though I think he has served a penalty because the time penalty's disappeared off our timing screens. As Hawk has retired! Hawk has retired, and we're not sure why, and we're not sure where, but Hawk has retired. Sector 1, there's a problem. I'm guessing it happened around turn 1. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Hawk is out of the race. And that is an Alfa Romeo out of the question. Hawk looked like he was going to try and take those tyres to the end. I've got no answers for you, folks, as to what's happened. But now that'll allow both Racing Point cars up into P3 and 4. So Sazala now, who doesn't need to worry too much about the Alfa Romeo. He's got his teammate Connor in front of him now, and I'm sure he will join him very, very soon. But I have to say, he's still got around 7 seconds to make up in between him and his teammate. Antoine is still in P2 right now, but you can just see Connor whittling down the time slowly. He's beginning to really chop at that wood and try and get closer and closer to that Red Bull. But I got to say, that is the big story here. Hawk out of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think he just went on straight, coming into turn 1. I don't know what happened there. Maybe his wheel even disconnected, because that can also happen. Maybe he was a bit out of frustration because he saw that nothing is going to work for him in this race. Let's hope that's not the case, because yeah, drivers retiring on track on purpose never is a good thing for us. As Lilly now setting his eyes on Sazala, as Alex Daegu just made his way into the pit lane. So he is being undercutted, question mark from Dark Killer. They are really, really close, those three right now, Sazala, Lilly, and Dark Killer. And where is Alex Daegu coming out in all of this? I think he actually made it stick, and look at the gap he has.
Yeah, not far away at all. And now Antoine is the official leader of this race, of course. Looking in behind Lilly and Sazala going at it, I have to say. But looking behind, Dark Killer wants a piece of the action as well. There's no penalties applied on my screen here for the top. Well, at least for the top 10, so that's impressive, as we can now see Dark Killer down the inside there of Lilly now. That looked all too easy. A little mistake there from Lilly. That cost him majorly, and that opened the door for Dark Killer up into P5 for the McLaren. The two great British constructors going to battle here at Shanghai, and it was absolutely super to see. Dark Killer now up into P5. He's going to let fly here at Sazala. Alex Daegu in P3 on fresh medium tyres. It's going to be an exquisite end to this Grand Prix. Still Connor in P2, trying to close the gap on Antoine, but Antoine currently looks really comfortable, but he's got to try and last out for the next 11 laps.
Yeah, that is the big thing. Actually, I was just double checking. So Dark Killer and Sazala both had a penalty, the 5-second penalty being applied. So they had to wait in the pits that's why they are that far behind. It's behind Alex Degu and also Connor, as now Darkkiller setting up a move on Cesala. That's a DRS pass out of the rulebook there, coming even onto the racing line before they enter the braking zone for the hairpin. And Darkkiller really looking strong here. Maybe he can crawl his way back to Alex Degu, but I mean, no DRS for him, running quite low on ERS, as I think Lily just dove into the pits there, and maybe will fit another set of medium tires, I would assume, going to the end of the race, or even retiring in the pit lane. That puts Jonas into P6. Maybe setting his eyes still on Cesala and Darkkiller, but those tires, they are quite short, 10 laps on them, and that will be a tough task for Jonas to actually get to the back of that fighting group there around Darkkiller and Cesala.
Yeah, that's another two cars out of the race, and I've got to say the DNFs are starting to rack up here at China. 10 laps remaining, and here's Cesala currently in P5, just over 8.5 tenths of a second in behind Darkkiller, who's currently in P4. So it's going to be Red Bull P1, you've got Racing Point P2, Haas P3, McLaren in P4, and then you have Racing Point in P5. So both Racing Points currently in Ps2 and 5. Two Red Bulls, Ps1 and 6 at this moment in time. Jonas right on the cusp of potentially getting closer and closer to the top end of this field. Remember, he has hard, so he can go to the end. Jakey B with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and it's been a very, very turbulent day for both Renault cars. Jakey B, of course, P15, Flying Oxters in P16, and there you can see FRA Chile in P13 as well, and a lot of these have yet to lap the cars that are amongst them as well, because he's still yet to pass Lily, who's currently in P12 but DNF'd, and Hawk as well down in P14. So that leaves Chile, the only Alfa Romeo out on track, and the rest of them, there's only a very small number of cars remaining, but certainly the battle that we're interested in is heading towards the top end. As you can now see, Cesala closing down on Darkkiller now, and eventually we'll get to the point where those hards are starting to feel a little bit nicer than those mediums, albeit I think Darkkiller will be in a good place right now. But I think at this moment in time, Antoine, who has played the strategy absolutely perfectly, he's in good shape right now, but he just needs to ensure that those hard tyres will last until the end. But watch out for Alex Degu, because he is closing the gap on WOR Connor.
Yeah, he's doing a great job there. And also Antoine, I mean, he could manage his tires as soon as left it, and Jonas got that drive through. He's just managing this race. 8 seconds to gap to Connor. And I don't know what's happening there with Chile. I think it was the second time he got a 10-second penalty for track limits. But yeah, Degu is doing a phenomenal job, and he is closing in on Connor. Connor knows that. Yeah, the advantage of those medium tires is still there, and I think it will be there until the end of the race. Yeah, quite unfortunate. We only have, I think, 10 drivers left now, or maybe even 9 only. No, Chile is still going. Oxtes is spinning, which is not good to see. But Cesala retired. I don't know why. I think he just lost the rear end coming out of that very, very tricky traction zone I was talking about earlier. So yeah, down to basically, I would say 9 runners that are really competitively in this race.
Yeah, well, Alex Degu there, I'm not quite sure what happened to Cesala. It almost like he put the power down coming out of the chicane. He made a slight error, then put his foot down. I'm not sure what happened, whether it was an error with his wheel system, but he decided to take a venture straight into the wall, so I'm not sure. I'm sure that will be looked at later on. But WOR Connor now in P2, and he has got a big problem on his hands, because Alex Degu is in P3, and lap 20 of 28. 8 laps left in this race, of course. And I have to say, half the field decimated in a moment here. Antoine still leading the charge. WOR Connor in P2. Alex Degu P3. Darkkiller P4. Jonas in P5. Still a good day in hand here for Red Bull. If Jonas can get himself up as well. Antoine still in P1. WOR Connor P2 though. Trying to hold back the tide here, because Alex Degu is a man on a mission on those medium tyres. 7/10 of a second, the delta gap as they come up through the next chicane. Now, of course, being turns 11, 12, and now rounding turn 13. And he will have DRS now heading down this long stretch as he now passes he passed the activation point before turn 12. And WOR Connor now in desperate country now as they head their way down towards the hairpin bend. Just look at the straight line speed on Alex Dagu on the medium tyres. Makes his way down towards the hairpin bend. Superb stuff as he makes his way towards the corner. And he's going to get it down. The snap back here from WOR Connor. Could not find the traction. A bit of a shake there as he left the hairpin bend. And the Haas driver Alex Dagu capitalises with his medium tyres. Makes his way up into second place. Textbook stuff here at the Chinese Grand Prix.
I don't think that battle is over yet, because Connor now sees, and we also see the flashing light coming on at the back of the Haas. So he knows he's running really low on ERS. Connor, instead, has 83%. So if he can stick with Alex Dagu and the tires will equal out towards the end of the race, he might have the chance to actually fight back on Alex Dagu there. That will be interesting. Can he do that? That is the big question. As Jonas now retires as well on the hard compound tires, so we're down to 8 runners only, which is a sad thing to see. But Alex Dagu is pushing. He's trying to get away from Connor. Connor only has to be within the DRS, so he doesn't have to push that much. But out of every traction zone, Alex Dagu has an advantage right now. Connor not really able to follow that advantage, but Alex Dagu outbraking himself into a very, very crucial part of the circuit. And now Connor can't sit behind Alex Dagu, not even pushing his ERS, his overtake button, and can just sit behind, just wait. And like I said, he just has to stick with Alex Dagu until the end of the race, and then can strike with a bit more ERS advantage.
Yeah, he can, certainly. Connor now getting very close indeed. He's going to try and stay inside the DRS because that, of course, will allow him to keep up with the Haas driver. Of course, Alex Dagu in P2 knows very well what Connor's capable of. Of course, we've seen him all race so far, and he's been mightily impressive here today as they make their way up towards turn 1. Antoine still leading the charge, though. But that time gap is coming down. Alex Dagu, albeit they have been battling Alex Dagu and WOR Connor, but it certainly hasn't affected the delta time in terms of it drifting outwards as Harv 234 collects a 3-second time penalty. And that's for multiple warnings, of course. We did speak about this circuit being extremely testing as we're now witnessing Connor and Dagu now coming down towards the next right-hander. And they're literally, this battle's going to go on now, I predict, till the end of this Grand Prix. It's going to be a real tight-knit affair. Alex Dagu knows he needs to try and garner every bit of delta out of this circuit because if he can break the DRS, that's going to be very, very crucial. And I think you can consider that Connor's chances of P2 goodbye.
Yeah, basically the only fight, the only battle going on track, which is quite sad to see. But if you're down to 8 runners or 9 runners, then that is basically what's happening every single time. Is now Connor lost the back end, but he did lose the DRS there on Dagu. So good for him, and good for us that there's actually something happening on track. Connor is pushing a bit more, can sit in the DRS of Dagu there. We saw Dagu has a bit more of an advantage in a straight line, so Connor has an advantage in the corners. But look at the closing speed he has in the braking zone there on Dagu. So yeah, very, very interesting thing. Dagu is still running very low in ERS, going a bit wide there for my liking in the final corner. But I think Dagu on paper has the advantage, but Connor with the DRS has just what he needs to cling onto the back of the Haas.
Yeah, well, Connor is really pushing. You saw it there, going to the end of the hairpin at the end of the last lap. Lap 22 of 28, he laid the hammer down upon his brake pedal. He left it to the last minute. He wants to try and stay well within Alex Dagu. He wants to try and make him wear those tyres, make him push, make him wear out the rubber on that medium compound as they make their way now around the next left. This, of course, being turn 7. And very shortly they'll head around turn 8, of course, before they reach the double left-handers. That being turns 9 and 10. Alex Dagu still in P2, albeit only by the skin of his teeth or by a fair margin, albeit 0.8 of a second. He's only 0.2 of a second inside the second that Connor needs for that DRS. As Alex Dagu now, he's trying to utilise the track to his advantage. I think he's finding certainly a lot more grip than what Connor is right now, because Connor, he's pushing, but he doesn't have the same tread on his tyres that Daegu does, because certainly that medium is going to certainly be a lot stickier than what the hards are right now. As they make their way down towards the hairpin bend, the straight line speed on Connor is certainly improving as he leaves it late again, slams hard on the brakes, locks up the right end tyres now as they run the hairpin bend at turn 14, and still this battle rages on. 5 laps remaining now. It will be 4 on the next lap, and still Alex Daegu remains in P2.
Yeah, doing a phenomenal job there. Just getting the punch out of the very, very crucial corner leading onto this long straight. You were talking about that earlier in qualifying, that is the corner you really have to stick, and with a tire advantage and a bit of dirty air kicking in there for Connor, that is actually giving Daegu the advantage he needs on Connor at the moment. I mean, Connor will push at the final lap or maybe on the penultimate lap, but yeah, for now, Daegu remains to be the one who has the advantage. Yeah, Connor just sitting behind has the ERS advantage, and I think LGS just fitted for soft tires. And also there's a fight commencing for P5, 1.4 seconds, so we have to keep our eyes on that as well. So not to have Connor and Daegu for the entire second stint here in the picture.
No, absolutely, but it's still a thrilling encounter. Nonetheless, 0.7 of a second is still the gap that remains. It does seem to be that Connor is getting closer and closer every time he makes his way around turns 11, 12 and 13 as they come round this bend now, and you get to thinking that if Connor can keep on applying his good braking here heading down towards the hairpin bend at turn 14, that will help him garner a little bit more time upon the Haas driver Alex Daegu as they make their way down. Now, once again, surely you'll see the Racing Point lock up once again. You certainly do, just slightly there. A little puff of smoke coming out of the front tyres as they now round the final corner before they begin lap 20, or their lap 25 of 28. And you can now see them as they do so. Connor in P3 getting closer and closer with the utilisation of DRS, and look, he's saving ERS as well. Daegu is using a lot of his. He is running low, and this is going to prove to be a real costly affair as they make their way around turn 3.
Yeah, Daegu not really able to harvest some ERS. That is the most crucial part. He's also pressing the overtake button out of basically every single corner, and I was just right on board with him right now. If he presses the overtake button once again, and yes he does, so he's not really harvesting. He should do that maybe for the end of the race, just to have the bit of extra advantage, because every single lap Connor is seeing that flashing light on the back of the Haas there, and when you see that, you know that you will have the advantage. As I think now LGS just made a very simple pass there on Harv, 4P7 on those fresh soft tires. Connor and Daegu now coming around this long right-hander once again, leading onto this long straight as well. And yeah, once again, the flashing light coming on at the back of the Haas. So Daegu once again not able to harvest any of ERS. And Connor, like you said, he's just sitting behind and just waiting for the right opportunity to rise. And he's doing that to perfection right now. The tire advantage Alex Daegu has is thinning out towards Connor and into Connor's favor, of course, on those hard tires. We're on a third to last lap right now, lap 26 out of 28, so 3 to go. And I can see Connor get into P2 at the probably final lap of the race.
Yeah, well, certainly if Alex Daegu keeps on trying to save his ERS, it's certainly going to be that situation right now if he keeps utilising it, because you just see that gap closing all the time between Connor and Alex Daegu, and Connor knows exactly what the Haas driver's doing right now, and he knows that he is in a lot of jeopardy, and I'm sure that Racing Point is going to try and utilise its pace here at China, and you can only anticipate there's going to be something or a move made heading down the long straight. And as you can now see, Alex Daegu trying to utilise his knowledge of this circuit, try and find the best areas to gain time. But Connor seems to be matching him all the way right now. Those hards are starting to become maybe a little more effective than that of the mediums. And we'll have to see how this unfolds at the end of the race. Just look how close they are heading into the semi-chicane as they make their way around turn 12 and turn 13. And very shortly down towards the real but long back straight now, where obviously Connor can utilise the DRS once again, and as he does so, applies it certainly The gap between them, 7/10 of a second. Looking further back, of course, Blackie overtakes Ants as well as Ants goes off the track. And that's another car that's entering the kitty litter. And Blackie now moves at the P5. That's a McLaren 4th and 5th. And that'll certainly be a good result for them, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. That is something they can salvage now. Blackie actually has a bit of wing damage, so that might be spicy towards the end of the race, as now Eds also retires on track. No safety car apply, which is good to see. But LTS might have a go there on Blackie with the wing damage and the tire advantage LTS has. But I think we have to focus on the front running guys of Degio and Connor, which we've done for, yeah, probably the whole of the second stint, because that is the most interesting fight going on track. They're on the penultimate lap. Is there a move coming on this lap, or will Connor leave it until the end of the race and onto the final lap?
Well, it's going to be a fascinating end, that's to say, as they make their way now down towards turn 11 and breaking in between 100 and the 50. Just after the 100, in fact, as they now round turn 12 and heading round turn 13 now. Alex Dagu still holding on, but that time is once again coming down. He's managed to narrow it by a 10th as Connor heading around this sector, and he might have a chance here, Mike Connor. And you can imagine he's used a little bit of that ERS as they make their way down now, or is he going to keep it and save it for a rainy day, i.e. the next lap? But as they make their way down the hairpin bend, he is going to save it. He's going to be patient. They head around the hairpin bend now, and so did the Haas driver, Alex Dagu, knows that he's in trouble here as they round the final corner to start the final lap here in this Chinese Grand Prix. Antoine surely has it home and hose. Here comes Connor, takes the left-hand side here, the outside line, around the outside of Haas driver Alex Dagu, gets it down before the corner. Sensational by Connor. Superb stuff. Here comes Alex Dagu trying to fight back here in the final lap here at Shanghai, but it's not enough. Connor can now try and check out and go home. He has got more ERS than that Haas car, and this will give him a huge chance here to finish P2 at the end of this race.
As Dagu now dives in down the inside there of Connor and pushing the Racing Point wide there. I don't think Dagu actually expected Connor to make a move down the start-finish straight there, but now still advantage for Connor. I don't think that was the best thing Dagu could do. He could have just sit behind, just wait, and I think he will be sitting duck on this long straight, because Connor has like 45, now 50 odd percent in his battery against 16 of Dagu, and Connor will have the DRS. Antoine will settle home for P1 there. Very, very wide race for him, but here comes Connor.
Yeah, Connor now looking to reclaim that P2 that was lost here earlier on in this lap. Here comes Connor now. The Racing Point dives down the outside here and indeed gets it done, but surely Alex Dagu cuts off the inside line. He snaps back. Antoine is going to win the Chinese Grand Prix, but it's all about the battle for P2 as we now see Connor snapping at the death. Indeed, he gets it. A run wide there from the Haas, wheel to wheel, but Connor seals the deal. He gets P2 at the end of the Chinese Grand Prix. Alex Dagu, a fascinating battle. Well done, everybody, on that finale. That was superb. Antoine there with a grandiose P1 wins the social race here today at Shanghai. Absolutely superb. Dark Killer comes home in 4th. Blackie's going to come home in 5th with LGS 469 for Ferrari is going to come home in P6 and half 234 in P7. We're going to see FRA Chile, no doubt, coming home eventually. I'm not quite sure what's happened to him, but he's well behind in terms of the Delta gap. But incredible scenes here, and I have to say, Flo, we were treated to an incredible race. Antoine got it absolutely spot on from the get-go. He started at the top, he finished at the top, but it was all about Connor and Dagu at the end. What a fascinating battle we had.
Yeah, and although we only had like 8 drivers finishing this race, it still was a very, very entertaining one. And I would say, if that is anything to go by for the rest of this, or for the start of the season, I mean, we are not even into the season, really, where we will start next week. If that is anything to go by, we are up for a very, very exciting season. And I mean, we said it in advance to this social race as well. It will be a very, very interesting season, and really excited. I mean, we both are really excited for the whole of the season to unfold. And yeah, I don't know what's happening to Chile there. yeah, doing some donuts on the start finish straight. As now I thought he's going to go into the over the line, but yeah, doesn't want to do so. Now coming crossing the line in, I think it was P8 or P9, and that was the social race, George. Like you said, very, very entertaining one, and yeah, really excited for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that's anything to go by, like you quite rightly said, Flo, we're going to look forward to seeing what happens in the first race of the season. And I got to say, Antoine is going to be delighted, no doubt. It may only be a social race, folks, but wins mean everything. And the Red Bull is going to be sitting on the top tier of the podium on this occasion. But superb stuff. Give credit to Connor as well. An excellent race and a box office finish, certainly, with a battle between the Welshman and the Englishman. It was just like watching a game of rugby. They fought to the end. And absolutely brilliant there. Sensational driving from the pair of them. Take a bow, Alex Dagu and WOR Connor. Both of you drove out of your skins. Let's have a look at the final classifications for this Chinese Grand Prix, folks. Any second now, we'll get the list right in front of us. It certainly has been a tremendous race. Antoine is your winner there for the Red Bull Racing team. WOR Connor finishes in P2 after starting 9th on the grid. A sensational rise up through the standings. Alex Dagu, same for him. P11 he started, finished in P1. Dark Killer the same, P14 up to P1. LGS 469 finishing P5. FRA Blackie for McLaren finishing P6. Half in P7 for Mercedes. Further down we got Ads, of course, who retired. In fact, most of this grid retired after the end of this. Chile, of course, didn't finish. Jonas was a DNF as well as Cesala, KFC Lilly, Oxtairs, Hawk, Jakey B, Gotta Be Fast, Lefted, as well as Hamilton, Bobbitts as well. They were all DNFs leading towards the end of this Grand Prix. But I gotta say, we were treated to a clinic. It was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So many great battles. I mean, the virtual safety car phases, not really what we opted to have, because that robbed us of a bit of racing there. Quite unfortunate for us, and I think that is also what frustrated some of the guys being out on track there. But yeah, it was a phenomenal race. Dagu and Connor, I mean, we were on the edge, really, and just waiting for Connor to make the move there. Not happening until the final lap, where he tried to. I mean, he overtook Dagu coming down the start-finish straight, where I didn't expect that, and I think Dagu didn't expect that as well. And then down the long straight once again, he made that switchback to perfection. Dagu tried everything, but couldn't make that one stick. Came home P3, still a very, very solid result. Yeah, taking a look at the grid when we started this race.
Absolutely. Well, I got to say it was teed up for a grandstand finish. I have to say, because we saw the two Red Bulls up there, and I have to say it was a shame that we couldn't see more of Jonas at the end. I mean, obviously there was a lot that happened in that race that did not tee us up to perhaps the finish it could have been. It was a great finish nonetheless. We had a great battle for P2, but it would have been great to see someone challenge Antoine. But I think you just got to put it down to Antoine's raw pace. He judged that race magnificently. He went in with a plan. He executed it perfectly, and he ended up with a P1 at the end of the day. And that is exactly what's key here, certainly to cultivating positive results here in WOR and any league you take part in. Anything competitive, you must have a plan, and that is what won Antoine this race here today. He went into qualifying, he knew what he was going to do, he came out with the positive result, headed into the start of the race, and activated the strategy to perfection. It was absolutely superb, and that's exactly what we've come here to see. And I have to say, we can count ourselves very lucky here. We've actually got Antoine here joining us for an interview here. We will transfer him here, and you can join us for the driver interviews now here, folks, as we now witness Antoine. Antoine, how are you doing? Welcome, and what a phenomenal victory.
Hello, George. Hello to you, first of all, for your first commentary on Xbox.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Pleasure to be here. I have to say, I've been really excited about this. Obviously, Antoine, you were superb. It was a great qualifying session. I think that probably won you the race on the day, because you were able to stick the car on the front row of the grid. And not forgetting that then, a perfect pit stop strategy that seemed to work for you. And as soon as you landed yourself on top spot, you seemed to stay there. It was brilliant.
Yeah, first of all, on quali, it was quite intense because it was only a one-shot quali at the end, because for the first stint on soft on qualifying, it was quite slippery with the condition. It was quite slippery, so it was a one-shot quali for everyone. So it was quite close between Jonas and I. And for the race, yeah, 5 VSC in like 8 laps, so it was quite. I don't know if it was a glitch or something because Bobert left as he was the host, so I don't know. Connor told me told me that it was maybe a glitch about the host migrating, so it was quite unfortunate. Yeah, Connor and Jonas took a drive through because the delta was quite glitch as well, so I had to brake, and then they just not braked enough, so it was quite unfortunate for them. But after all, it was quite obvious to go longer to have the fresher hard tires to go to the end. So it was quite a near race management during the whole race and time management as well.
Yeah, but it looked like at the start we were going to see a battle between you and Jonas. It certainly did tee itself up to be that. Obviously, Jonas had a bit of misfortune going on earlier on. I think it was a penalty or something that he picked up. It cost him a lot of time. But I've got to say, the actual start you got off the line was incredible. I mean, did you at all realise how far ahead you were going into turn one? I mean, you got a hellacious jump from the get go, and you got yourself clear.
Yeah, it's quite my trend on this game. I'm taking some good starts from time to time, but this one was like maybe the perfect one. Jonas was like, "What the fuck is that start, Antoine?" We were in the same party chat, so yeah, it was quite an insane start, and then the VC came out so quite quickly, and yeah, it was a perfect start for me tonight.
Yeah, well, I got to say, it certainly bodes well going into a new season, of course. I mean, I said to Flo before the start of the stream and going into the early parts of the stream, this, I suppose, counts as our winter testing, should we say. And we look at some of the drivers on track. Of course, we didn't see the full article tonight. Obviously, there's still lots of Tier 1 drivers that we haven't seen. But looking at yourself and Jonas, you look like a force to be reckoned with out there. Do you think Red Bull can pick up a good Constructors' Championship position at the end of the season?
Yeah, that's the target for sure. The drivers' championship is as well an option for me and for Jonas and for some other drivers. But yeah, we have a good relationship. We have a good relationship between us, and yeah, hopefully, if we can have both title in terms of drivers and constructors' championship, it could be good for us as we are quite friends. So it could be good for us.
Yeah, and what about some of the other names we're seeing on this grid as well? Because not forgetting, we've got the likes of TRL Limitless, we got Florian as well in the midst as well, and you've got the likes of Leopard in this season as well, and not forgetting many others across this grid. Is there any in particular that really stick out that you think could be the main dangers for this season?
I mean, it's the best lane on Xbox definitely. So it's gonna be a tough season because the season is quite short, so you don't have to make mistakes. So it's only 12 rounds. I like the calendar, to be fair, so I'm quite looking forward to it. It's gonna be a tough one. I know Pinecone is really consistent in terms of race pace. There is also Keaton is not here, unfortunate. There is so many drivers, as you said, like Leopard, Limitless. My teammate as well, Jonas, Lefted, was really quick on one-shot on qualifying, so it will be a tough one. I have to make no mistake, and yeah, it's going to be a tough season instead.
Well, we're going to look forward to seeing it, but I want to say a massive congratulations on a P1 year today, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the start of the season. Very best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. See you next week.
Yeah, will do. I think that is going to be our only interview of the session, of course. We haven't got anyone else who's currently waiting in, but just surveying Antoine's words there, Flo. Obviously, looking at that, obviously Red Bull packing a lot of confidence heading into this new season.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, sorry, it was not for me. Sorry.
That was for Miles. Sorry.
It was for me. But don't worry. Yeah, I mean, of course, they can pack all the everything. They are one of the strongest lineups. Let's put it that way. I was saying that at the start of the stream as well, or start of the race, and looking. I just have the whole grid in front of me right now, and if I had to pick one driver pairing that will fight for the title or will win the title, in my opinion, it would be both of the Red Bulls. I know they're getting they're getting along very, very well, because they're both teammates also in the challenges. I mean, they're fighting for points for themselves, but they know each other, and yet a good relationship, like Antoine mentioned, that can certainly help them to challenge for the title. But like he said, we could go through the whole grid and just say, yeah, that's a championship contender, that's a championship contender, and you could just go on through the whole grid.
Absolutely. We're very lucky to have such a hugely and widely top contested grid here. It's absolutely brilliant. And I'd say a lot of these guys competing in challenges and things of that nature. It's brilliant to see, and it's exactly what you can expect here at World Online Racing, certainly here at WOR. We're very excited to be here. Myself and Flo are going to be your commentators for this coming season, Season 10. I hope you're all enjoying it. I hope you all enjoyed tonight. Obviously, that's a mere taster of what you could expect heading into race 1. So don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe as well. Like I said, check out myself and, of course, Flo on Twitter as well. Don't forget, mine is George Morgan TV. Make sure you check me out. Feel free to hit me up, as well as not forget, I'm going to get you to say it again, Flo. What is your Twitter handle?
At TSR Miles is my Twitter handle. So feel free to also drop me a follow or whatever.
Absolutely. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Tonight, it was Antoine who took the plaudits, but we'll see you next time here on WOR. Do take care.